Well, hey, everybody. I'm so happy to see you. It's Friday at almost 1:11 p.m. And if you're here now, or if you're here on the replay, this is the Quantum Health Life. Hello. What is it, Nori? Easy for me to say. It's the Quantum Health Well-Being Lifestyle and Well-Being Show. I'm so excited. I'm getting tongue-tied. And I'm so excited because I just absolutely love and adore my guests that I'm going to tell you about. But I first want to thank you, as always. Thank you for being here. And I want to invite you to our Broadcast Team Alpha membership group. That's kind of where we test drive special information, special videos, more personal videos. I just did a short series on healing relationships from narcissistic abuse and domestic violence. So that's not something that I really wanted to put out to the general public. So I just invite you to join that group. I'm going to have a healing for the solstice. It will be in there. And as always, we have our Tuesday night show, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's more, ufology, exopolitics, a little bit more of weighty, if you will, topics, where today we are going to touch upon all three of the pillars of my foundation, which is quantum health, quantum well-being, and quantum lifestyle. My friend and beloved associate is Leslie Welch. She's a spiritual divorce and life coach. Leslie is a CDC certified divorce and career coach. She's also a law of attraction coach, of course. And now she's added to her already amazing platform by becoming a certified Akashic Records practitioner. She's a Reiki master. Leslie is a passionate coach who helps women create new beginnings out of marriages and career changes and identities that end. She helps you recreate yourself. She helps women heal, which is so important when you go through all of those things. She helps you find forgiveness and to let go of the past so you can begin to step fully into who you came to be, into your abundant future, and live your most fulfilled, joyful happiness and lifestyle. So, Les, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for being here with us.
Oh, it's such an honor to always be with you, Nori, and the energy that, comes through is always fabulous.
I'm so excited. And, the energy's definitely brought us together because you and I have kind of been traveling the same trajectory. Many people are going through incredible upheavals and changes, and we are not immune from that. So Les and I have noticed that we're kind of on the same trajectory side by side, which naturally law of attraction drew us together. I especially want to tap into your toolbox, into your wisdom, into your knowledge, and into your spirituality to talk about the importance of self-love. I want to go beyond the manicures and bubble baths. I mean, all of that is really, really great. But I want to go into the deeper qualities of self-love, which really came to mind, Les, that in order to really love ourselves, we have to identify where we're not loving ourselves. And that includes, of course, because you're a divorce coach, that includes discovering the places where discerning the areas where our current relationships, not just male and female, work family relationship, friendship relationships, parental relationships, where they're not honoring and loving us. So how can we tell, Les, that we are in a relationship that is not really honoring us?
Right. From my own personal experience too, it's been a journey into understanding those unhealthy healthy relationships. When you come from a background where there's been a lot of abuse, and a lot of, not growing up with the love and support we fully needed. And we're at a place now where we've been open to this. We're more open-minded, and we've come full center now with realizing we have things going on that we've been carrying with us since the childhood, through different lifetimes. And it is so impacts where we are. So boundaries, learning to create healthy boundaries is one of the most important things you can do for yourself. Because especially, I know men do this too, but a lot of us women, we give, and we're stepping outside of our boundaries. And I just posted a quote recently about not giving of yourself. Are you saying no to yourself or yes to yourself when you're doing that? Because when we really feel, there's a difference between feeling it like, oh, wow, yeah, I want to do that. It's going to bring me joy and excitement, right? That feels good. But when we say yes out of obligation or guilt, because we have been brought up or raised in our culture to think that we have to give more, to be loved, to get love back, that it's always giving. And I think a lot of what we miss is how to receive love back to ourselves. And we can block that without even knowing, just because of our patterns and our behaviors that we've learned. And so really getting to the core of that, of why you're not creating those healthy boundaries, is key to doing that. And you really have to do some deep inner work. And I know personally, because I've seen it in you, I have been blessed to have Nori and so many wonderful women in my life. They have been a blessing to me. But, I've seen so many women, and especially now where we're reaching this age, where we went through all these things. We've been through divorce. We've raised our children. We've been through health problems and crisis, financial and COVID and everything. So we're at a place now where we're going, wait a minute, there's a part missing here.
Yeah.
What's missing for me? Because I'm not feeling that passion and that joy at that time. When you're not feeling it, then you're not creating the healthy boundaries that you need.
That's so good, Les. And I'll give you a perfect example of what you're talking about. My godmother, it's been a long journey, but she's had a couple of strokes, and long story short, very long story short, she's now in a nursing facility. And, there was so much guilt and pain around that. And I found myself, when I would go to the nursing facility, I would just want to say hello, drop stuff off and leave. And I felt so guilty, but I realized I was in so much pain, because I'm grieving. One of my dearest friends, I said to her, what is wrong with me? Everything irritates me. Everything feels like it weighs 4,000 pounds. Everything is so heavy. She goes, you're grieving. And with that, I went, oh my gosh. So what did I do? I changed my schedule that day, Les. I lightened my schedule up. I took time for me and for Pixie and for Sunshine, and just to lay in bed and read, to just make myself better. So what I'm trying to get at is, it took me feeling that heaviness to realize that I need to set a boundary.
Right. And it's when, you can recognize those unhealthy patterns that this is not making me feel good about myself, because in, you're not giving yourself self-love and the respect that you deserve. And when we don't take care of ourselves, we can't give. We can't give what we don't have to others. And so much I had to come into the full realization that, a lot of people want to put it all on the childhood they were raised with, and our parents. But really, I had to go back in and working in the Akashic records as much as I have over the last couple of years. I just got getting double certified right now in it by
Congratulations.
different practitioners, and I've got two more classes that I want to dive deeper because that's just how deep all this goes. And, this came up with me yesterday in a session, and it was very interesting because I realized for the first time, I was like, oh my goodness, something came up that my mother had told me years ago. And the same was true with my dad. And it was actually like them throwing a dagger, and it stuck with me. And it stuck with me all these years. And until I could go in really deep and figure out there's the trigger, this is where it's coming from, I couldn't release it, you
Wow.
know?
Wow.
So, yeah, that's why I started out as doing professional divorce coaching. Well, of course, I was always in the spirituality because I
Yes.
started out with law of attraction. But what happened as I kept going and I kept growing and evolving over this last 8 years, it brought me fully back to source, to God, to the master.
Mhm.
Everything came back to this is where you're supposed to be, to do that deep healing work that people so need. It is so needed because if you don't do the deep healing work, you're going to suffer the rest of your life with all this baggage that you're carrying with you.
Right. Right.
And
And
that,
some of the signs that you need to do work are, I was walking around with a lump in my throat all of the time. Like everything was, making me cry. And I should have gone, oh, wait, that's not normal. I need to do something. And I have a friend who this person's not ready yet to do the deep work, but there is a repeating cycle that keeps coming up for this person. It's a cycle of feeling like they've done something wrong, but don't want to believe they've done something wrong. So they get mad about it, right? And it's a cycle that comes up in many areas of their life. So isn't that a sign, Les, that you need to do some
yeah,
deep work?
yeah, it's a sign because the word, the heaviest thing I think we all carry is judgment and guilt.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we judge ourselves and we judge everything around us because we were brought up that way. Nobody
Yes.
told us different or taught us different when we were growing up. So we have to really get out of that mindset, and get rid of the guilt because it's got to be why do I feel guilty about this? And is this guilt really mine? Why am I
Exactly.
carrying this, right? Where's it coming from? Or is it guilt that somebody else put on me? And, as energy workers and everything, it is so important to clear and clean our energy because all of us, whether you're an empath or not, will take on so much, even in one day from, it's the news channels, it's the SEO coming at us, everything is speeded up since we
Yes.
moved into this COVID timeline. After COVID, everything just switched. And now
Yes.
it's like we woke up and we're like, a lot of us are finding ourselves at this time in our lives. Um, for instance, and I know you've done this too, Nori, I really had to let go of a lot of everything I had been taught. in courses and different certifications, I had to let them go and say, throw the books away, throw
Yes.
them away. There is not one thing that works for everybody
Exactly.
because, there's everybody's different and you have to take a different approach with every single person. So I really just threw out the rule books and said, no, this is who I am now. I am no longer that person. And I literally I just recycled years and years of computer. I
Wow.
let all those teachings and everything go.
Wow.
And I got to
That's
tell
huge.
you, freeing up when we're
Yeah.
feeling heavy and we're
Yes.
feeling burdened carrying this stuff, it is
Yes.
so freeing to let go because what I had to realize was I am not that woman I was 8 years ago when I went through the divorce situation,
Yeah.
and some of you know I had melanoma twice. I've been through that. I had a massive brain surgery done, and so I was like I have hearing problems in an ear and stuff. And this year, I know Nori's had her challenges. Last year, I went through 3 colonoscopies. I've got one coming this week, and I just went through major eye surgeries. And when you
Huge.
look at all those things, you have to go, okay, how did I create some of this stuff? Because I got to tell you that my eye problem, I had dreams about it. I
Wow.
had warning signs. That's how intuitive I was. I would have dreams that I wasn't going to be able to see. Lo and behold, here I go. Eye
Wow.
surgeries, right? So it's learning how to decreate this stuff, because when we clear that kind of energy, and lots of times it's coming from somewhere where we don't even think it's coming from,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Exactly.
So it's just amazing. And the further that I dive deeper and deeper, and one of the reasons I did the second certification in Akashic Records with another practitioner was because she got into the crystals and healing,
Mm.
and being Reiki and that. So now I do use crystals along with my practice.
Nice.
So basically, what I have done is I've taken everything, incorporated it into one service.
I love it.
Because if you can take everything, all the knowledge that you have, and just wrap up the gifts or what you took away from everything, because
Yeah.
you're not meant to take away everything that you learn and retain everything. You
Right.
trust that the right things are what you remember and retain, and that information will be there when you
So,
really step into yourself, when you step into the power of who you are and you let
yes.
go of everything else. And so many, I can say for years, it took me years to come out. People used to say to me, oh, you don't advertise yourself enough, you don't tell whatever you do. And it took me a long time to feel like, wow, I don't need any more. I have everything I need. And the
Exactly.
biggest realization was that I don't need anything else. All I need
Yeah.
is me, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's all
Absolutely.
I've really got.
And I noticed the same thing, Les. Like when I was doing hypnotherapy with people, Reiki would start coming through. So I had to start asking people in the beginning of sessions, is it okay if, I do Reiki when it comes through? So all of my studies too began to meld and come together to create the unique thing that I offer too. Same thing as you. I love it. So there's one question though about self-love that I wanted to dig in with you, if I may.
Yeah.
So the importance of self-love is also knowing when we're not being loved and honored and respected. I kind of touched upon that in the beginning. So many of us are sensitives. Many of us are empaths. So, of course, we draw to us strong personalities, narcissists. So let's talk about how we can identify when we're feeling unloved, especially in the face of them saying, "Why are you reacting like this?" I was just making a joke. Why are you reacting like this? I was just being friendly and making conversation. Can we dig into that a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit with a narcissist. The narcissist always has to be right. And the narcissist is very good at playing games. And one of the games can be to pull your triggers, I like to say. That person knows you so well, they know what's going to trigger you. So it is really understanding or working with somebody that can help you identify those triggers, what it is that when that person does that, how can you create a safe haven for yourself and separate yourself from the situation?
Yes.
Lots of times, because you're not going to win. If you've got a narcissist, and I've worked with women, I mean, I actually, back a few years ago, had one of the worst narcissist cases I'd ever seen. There was abuse with it. And this man, they had 2 young kids, he would stop at nothing to destroy her. Nothing. And it was brutal. And the thing was, when she had to take her power back from that person. And taking your power back is realizing you don't have to let them take you there. It's keeping it simple. It's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't feel like talking about this with you. I don't feel like discussing this with you." If you're involved in divorce and separation, that's a whole other thing, because then you can just say, "You need to talk to my attorney about this. So we need to disconnect because we're not communicating." The way I always perceive it with people is you just really have to say, "Okay, I need a couple minutes here," and step out of that box, that fighting ring that they put you in, because your first reaction is going to be to retaliate against this person, and that's what they want. They want to suck you in. When you can learn how to not let them suck you in and step back into your own power and step in to, it's about stepping into the confidence, gaining your confidence around this person and this self-esteem. So in my practice, what I end up doing is actually playing out scenarios with clients about how they're going to react. And amazingly, once they learn how to handle the situation and not let that person take them there, because it's okay. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, you're talking to me like that, I'm going to hang up on you," or "It's unacceptable anymore." Because a big part of that is showing them that they can't take advantage of you anymore.
Right. And you're telling people how you choose to be treated. And if you can't meet me in the realm of respect where I want to be treated, then we're probably not going to have a relationship.
No, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, when you have children involved, of course, you're going to have to always have that other person in your life, and that's where it can get difficult and it can get messy. But as time goes on, usually the other person, being a male or female, is going to move on, hopefully a couple years from now, or after those kids are grown, hopefully they move on. And the worst thing is they move on to the next victim, is what happens. When they learn that they can no longer control the situation with you, then they're going to move on to the next one and the next one, because the narcissist is always, always seeking more attention, more affection. And you really, too, if you look at, okay, why if you look at why does that person react that way? Where is he coming from? He's coming from a place where he's felt unloved, unworthy, not enough, so a lot of times when, especially women in relationships, they can look at that person. And I said, look at that person, because what you're seeing is a little boy there that never grew up, throwing a tantrum.
That's helpful. So let's take that one step further. Many of us keep choosing the same kind of person, which could definitely be traced. Well, of course it is. It's not could. It is trace backable, making up words now, to the Akashic records. We will often recreate, right, what we've done in many, many lifetimes, that you can, not only with your vast wisdom and your spirituality, but you can help people with your Akashic sessions, because with the relationship things that keep showing up and keep showing up. How does that work, Les? What does that look like?
Well, what it looks like is, if you have somebody that keeps repeating the same patterns, you look for, was there another lifetime that something similar happened, that they've actually, they've had this behavior for other lifetimes and they brought it into this lifetime. So it's figuring out where that is, figuring out where they're blocked. And the one thing about the Akashic Records, the most beautiful reason that I got into it is because the Akashic Records looks at everything through the eyes of love and with no judgment. So when you take somebody into the Akashic Records, then there's the opportunity to see this from a whole bigger perspective, to put everybody there that has went, any relationship, put them all there, and then you get the bigger picture. You actually get to look at it through I like to say, for me, as my God, look at it through the eyes of God, because nobody's really wrong or right when we get down to it. Nobody, because there is no judgment there, and I really think, for me, because I've spent years and years, and I know you have too, and we may think that we've gotten through this, then all of a sudden it's like you'll have something that happens, right?
Here it is again. Okay. Here it is again.
Yeah. Now, when I got divorced, I wasn't thinking about this, and now it's coming up for me, and I want to go there, and then I'm like, you can't do that. No, you don't get to do that. This is
during the sessions, Les. It sounds like you can do the work, but not feel the pain. Is that true?
Well,
is it painful?
You're going to feel pain. You may feel pain, and there may be releasing, because you've got to, and this as a nurse and everything you've done, you can't carry this stuff, okay? You've got to let it go, release it, whether it's letting that person, if say, okay, I started the same relationship pattern, bringing these bad gentlemen into my life, in another lifetime, when it happened every time I was 35, there may be another lifetime this happened in, right? So it's going back and dealing with that personality then, and letting that personality be healed, and giving that personality the choice to either move on, letting them go, releasing them, or you taking them in, so now they're one with you, and they're healing, and you're letting go of it. I really like the method pretty much that you let go of it,
Yes.
I think that does take a lot of self-work, because you need to figure out the reasons what's lacking in you that you're attracting that type to you. And I can tell you, the more work you do on yourself,
yes,
you don't attract the same people anymore in your life. It doesn't happen. You always attract who you are mirroring into your life at that time and that space for certain reasons.
Right. That's so
So the
good.
more you do your own work, the more you're able to heal yourself also as you go through it. That's what the beauty of working in the Akashic records are, because with every session, every client, there'll be something there for me too, that comes up, a little nugget of something, and I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting that I drew this client to me, right? And it's always who needs the help at the right time.
Yes, yes. So I know with your divorce coaching and your life coaching, those are X amount of weeks or X amount of months when people work with you. With the Akashic records, is it so many sessions or is it session
Well,
by
right
session?
now, I just started offering live sessions on my website. Right now, I want to bring everything together into one so that um, everything's included. I mean, if somebody just wanted Akashic records, but I find there's, and you said Reiki comes up. I find with me, things will just come through. And so I'm at the place where, okay, well, if you sign up with me, if you don't want to go there, we don't have to. If you don't want to do Akashic Records, if you don't want to do the spiritual laws of divorce, because I'm so much more now a spiritual divorce coach, I still do a lot of the work behind the scenes. I will help somebody from the start. Just because it's difficult. It's really difficult with the mindset they're in,
Yeah.
and they need the help, and maybe with their attorneys and other professionals working with them. So my finance background, my professional background still comes in very much. So the really cool thing is about getting older. And you know this, and I know this.
Yeah.
It's okay. This is the beauty that, because when I started seeing after my surgeries and I looked in the mirror, I went, oh my gosh, oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know if you want to see what you're seeing, because I'm seeing the fine lines and stuff. But I came into the knowing that here's the beautiful thing about the age I'm in that I can enjoy is all these wisdoms, and I really can be myself. And
Yeah.
you know what? You don't have to just specialize in one thing,
Right.
because if I work with somebody on a Akashic record session, I am doing everything basically,
Yes.
because we have that many modalities behind us. You have them and I have them.
Yes.
So that's the beauty in it. We get to create these phenomenal new things. We don't have to just be one niche anymore, because of the wisdom and all the knowledge that we've collected, not from just studying courses and all this work we did to heal ourselves also, but to bring it all together, even with our professional skills and experience.
I love it. I keep muting myself because there's construction going on across the street. And for whatever reason, every Friday during the time of our show, they've got to run a buzzsaw. So it's kind of funny. But Les, tell people how they can find you. How can they find you? Do you have a group? Do you have a Facebook group? What do you have going on?
I have not. Well, I do have Facebook groups, but I don't have a private one going right now. I have stepped more into doing one-on-ones as I've gotten older, because I just realized I can't help. In order to do my best work with somebody, everybody's different. I've got people coming at me. No one's had the same exact circumstances or life challenges, right? So I work one-on-one with women that are serious about wanting to really let go of everything and feel good about themselves again and step. I know what they were created to be. That's the beauty of it. I see who they are and the power that's inside them. So bringing that out is the most rewarding thing to me. And at this stage in my life, I'm 64 and, I'm
beautiful.
Like, okay, I am doing, at this point in my life, I'm doing the work because it is more about helping others than, so I am going to be offering sliding scale again for people. I have coached a lot of women that went through domestic abuse, things like that in the past. And I have done sliding scale with a lot of people because my mission, the reason I got into this work was to help others heal. And when I was going through my brokenness, when my marriage ended the way it ended, I said to God, I said, look, you get me out of this pain. I will do whatever you want me to do for the rest of my life. And I said, if I never made a dime doing this work, that wasn't the reason. It was to help others because I did not want to have other people have to feel all the pain that I've been through in one lifetime.
Yes, I get it. Yeah. And what a blessing you are to everybody, Les. I mean, whether people come to you to, release the patterns that hold them back from being who they came to be, or whether you're walking them through a very difficult and messy divorce. I mean, what a comfort, and what people must feel so supported knowing that they have you in their corner. I mean, that must be amazing.
Yeah, and I love that. My clients, I have clients that call me every day when they're going through challenges, and it's really amazing how all the work you do on yourself just ripples over into your whole life at this point, so people can reach me. I do have a website. It's LeslieWelchLifeCoach.com.
LeslieWelchLifeCoach.com. Beautiful.
Oh, wait a minute. That's my old. Wait a minute. That's the old one. It's HeartToSoulLifeCoaching.com.
Oh, I like that better.
Well, you know what happened was I started out with Law of Attraction, Heart to Soul Life Coaching, because I had come across this journal and it just fit with it. And that's what I wanted. And when I started my coaching, they said, oh, no, you need to have your name on your business, all these business coaches and stuff. So about a year and a half ago, when I decided to change what I was doing, that I wanted to do more spirituality and healing work with people, I said, I'm going back to my old name. That's what I started with. And it doesn't matter what the name is because the name says it all, Heart to Soul Life Coaching. So when I coach, it's coming from my heart and it's for their soul, it's to help them heal. So that's the reason behind it.
It's so you.
The big message, though, the biggest message is for people is this. And I know Nori and I have both started over many, many times, right?
True.
And the biggest thing that I get with people is I don't know my life purpose. I'm depressed. I don't know why I'm here and stuff. And the biggest surprise to them is when I tell them, well, you're on your life path. You can't get it wrong. This is your life path you're on. You absolutely cannot get it wrong. What you can do is make choices and other decisions to take a different path. And so every day, or when you're ever at a place where you feel like you're stuck, you can just wipe the slate clean and start all over again. And for me, that's what my divorce was. And that's what I saw it as. I saw it even before I got into spirituality and coaching. It was like, wow, I'm 55 years old and I get to start my life over, and it's a new beginning.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's what spirituality, divorce is, to make to make your life better
I love that.
out of what you've been through, right?
Hmm.
So you
Yes.
can
And
feel joy, abundance, and happiness, and you can be fulfilled with yourself.
yes, and we can wipe the slate clean of those things that we discover. So if we round back to the beginning, when we discover we're feeling massively guilty because, the elders in our life are pulling us one way, and the grown children and the grandchildren are pulling us in another way, and we suddenly realize we have guilt about that, we can wipe that slate clean and recreate that aspect of ourselves. So
Yeah, we can recreate anything at any time in our lives. So, there's no failures. There is just not. Every single thing happens, and you look back. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, well, now this all makes sense to me, because it didn't at the time, but it all did, because it all got me to where I am today. Right.
yes,
And so
yes,
that's what was worth it.
that is worth it,
Being
because when
comfortable in your own skin is such freedom and
oh,
joy, giving yourself permission to be you. And I'm going to take this Dory's words, be you full out,
ah,
right?
exactly.
It's the best. It's
It is the best. It is the best, and it is like having a brand new life when you finally go, okay, this is who I am. I am going to be me full out. It is so liberating. It is so enlivening. Dare I say, almost blissful? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
it is. It is, because, and it's so important, because we've been taught, to always envision the future, do the vision boards, do all this work. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of law of attraction. But the most important thing, I think, is what I've learned is, no, I have to find joy in this very moment. Because when I can find joy in just moment by moment, I am sending that out, my energy system, into the universe. And I'm not waiting, because I feel there now. So I'm allowed to keep my vibration high, you know? So don't, yeah, we can plan for the future, but don't miss the minute, don't miss the moments. And I know for me, it's like, I get out, I go to my grandson's baseball games, I walk the baseball fields, I see the tiny little kids that remind me of my own, and I find so much joy in it. I find myself smiling, or when I get outside in nature, it's like, oh my gosh,
Yes,
and that's
yes.
what we're searching for, because if we can be present and bring joy into every moment of our life, and not forget the past. Some of it we're never going to forget, because you're going to carry it. You're always going to have to work on it. It's a work in process, and it's okay though, because you've got to work on it when it comes up.
Right. And it doesn't dominate your now moments. Yeah.
No,
So I'm
no.
going to take a page out of my co-host Augie's book, um, and ask you the final question. Les, if you could talk to the whole world and they were actually listening, what would you tell them?
I guess what I'd probably tell them is, well, I would tell them not to take themselves so seriously, to look for more joy and happiness in yourself. Do not look outside of yourself for what you're looking to fulfill yourself with. And I say this because of my own experience in growing up. I spent years looking outside of myself for all the answers. And I can tell you, everything brought me full circle back to the answers were inside me. And I already was enough because I was created enough. And we spend so much time trying to change who we are. No, let yourself be you, you know,
Yes.
be that person. Even if you think you are the square peg on the round planet, who cares? I felt that way for years. Now I'm like, I kind of like this, that I'm not like everybody else.
Exactly. And I would like to end on what you just said. You are enough. You are
Yes.
enough. Les, thank you so much for being here with us. It was such a fast show. I love you so much. Love you so much. Thank you. And we'll have you on in the not too distant future. Okay, my friend?
Okay. And thank you, Nori. And I love what you're doing with this show. God
Thank you.
bless you for helping others
Thank
this way. It's so needed. Much love.
Thanks, Les. Much love to
Thank
you.
you.